and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a very long time, but I've been busy. So today, my name's Anya. My name's Anya Devine. So today we are going to be repotting my Philodendron gloriosum into a long planter because, as you can see, it's kind of crawling down and it needs a bit more support. And I'm also going to tell you about my August reading wrap up, all the books I read, what I rated them, what I thought of them, just because I've just gotten back into reading, so yeah, it's just something that I can talk about. Today is a very, very hot day. I think it's the 8th of September, so I've got my water and I've got my bucket of substrate. So this is my own mix. It's a little bit of compost from like the shop, like seedling compost, mixed with perlite, cocoa chips, bark, worm castings, and yeah, it's just very light and airy. I've realised that recently my mix has become on the spot because all of my plants are thriving right now. We are doing this on my coffee table because I recently sold our dining table because it was just too big. So we're waiting for enough money to get a new dining table. But right, I need to get my mat. Right, I knew I was forgetting something. So I've not watered this plant in a while, which is why it will be so dry, because I have been waiting to repot it and I've just not gotten around to it. So I thought, why not? Right, so the first book I read this year, the first book I read in August, or rather the first book I finished in August, was A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. So I'm currently reading the whole Game of Thrones book franchise, A Song of Ice and Fire. That's what the series is called. So I've been reading A Song of Ice and Fire. I've been absolutely loving it. They are very, very hefty books though, so it does take me ages to get through one. I think I was reading this one from June all the way until the start of August, and this was a really long one. I think I didn't read it in 2 parts. I'm just looking at it on my bookshelf now because I read on my Kindle, so I didn't read it how normally people would read it if they were reading the normal paperback, because there's a part 1 and part 2, so I read the whole thing all at once and I really liked it. I loved the drama, I loved the action. I found it to be a lot better than some of the previous books that he's written. I think I rated Clash of Kings 3 or 4 stars, which wasn't as good, and I rated this one a 5-star read. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's just a really, really good series. But it does take me a lot of time to get through it. I find that the language he uses is sometimes a little bit difficult to get through, which means that I will kind of just read it over time. I'll always have another book going on or another few books going on at the same time, just to keep me entertained because I've got a low attention span. Yeah, I am very excited. I've already started the next book. I am about 50% the way through A Feast for Crows, and I am super duper enjoying that as well. Hopefully, George, you start, publishing your books so I can actually finish this series. Otherwise, it will be another unfinished series for me. I have my substrate in a B&Q bucket because that's how we roll here. Okay, and then the next book I read this month was Red Queen. So Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard is a young adult dystopian book. I have seen a lot of people on YouTube like really, really enjoying it. So I thought, why not? I'll give it a go because I actually have the physical copy and I've never actually read it. I still read it on my Kindle because I'm weird like that, and I just like reading on my Kindle way more than reading physical books. So it's so much more convenient. I got my Kindle this month as well, which is why I've been using it so much. And I used to read on an iPad, which was really hurting my eyes. So Red Queen is a young adult dystopian about, there's 2 types of people. Some people have red blood, some people have silver blood, and like there's this like equality, inferiority thing where the red-blooded people are like lesser than the silver-blooded people, which I didn't mind the premise. I hated it. I did not like it. I gave it a 2 out of 5. Now looking back, I don't think I remember anything about it. So even the redeeming qualities are non-existent for this book. I had really high hopes for it as well because so many people I watched really enjoyed it, but it was just not for me. I think I found the character a little bit just annoying, maybe too young. Maybe I'm 21, so I think I might be a bit too old to be reading this book. Yeah, it was a miss for me. I don't even think I finished it. I think I skimmed through the last of it. So I think I know what happens because I think I read a summary, but honestly, I can't remember anything about this book. So that was Red Queen. Then I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I absolutely loved this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I hated the ending. Absolutely hated the ending. I'm really sorry. It was just like inconclusive. It kind of left me on a cliffhanger, and like sometimes cliffhangers are okay, but like at this point I felt like it was just like that the author could have written a little bit more, or like a little bit less. Just the point of cutoff was just a little bit wrong for me for the book. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I did absolutely love it. I read Fourth Wing in July, and a lot of people have been saying, oh, if you loved Fourth Wing, try Divine Rivals. They're completely different books, but they gave you the same kind of euphoric feeling of like, oh my god, I can't wait to read, I can't wait to pick up the book again. So I did get that feeling. I did really enjoy it. I really did not enjoy the ending as much, so I gave it 4 stars. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, but just maybe it was just personal preference that I didn't like the ending. The next book I read was Wires and Nerve by Marissa Meyer. So this is a kind of a graphic novel based on the Lunar Chronicles, and it's about the robot Aiko and like her going off doing Cinder's work. So I absolutely adored the Lunar Chronicles. I first read the Lunar Chronicles when I was 15, and I recently read it again back in April, so at the ripe age of 21. And both times I read it, I rated it 5 out of 5 for every single book. Okay? Every single book I rated it 5 out of 5. I just really liked the story, I really liked the characters, the plot, how it all came together. I just really enjoyed it. So I read the graphic novel. It didn't take me very long, it took me like 3 hours on one day. And yeah, I gave it 4 stars because it was just nice to see the characters again and kind of immerse myself in that world. But obviously it's not like a full book. I think I even read like Cinder Get Me to the Wedding, but I didn't enjoy that because I haven't read Queen of Heartless, that's what it's called. So I've not read Heartless, so I think I was a bit confused, but so I'll be reading Heartless soon and maybe I'll understand what was going on in Get Me to the Wedding a little bit more. So I rated that 4 stars out of 5. I also listen to audiobooks whenever I'm driving, whenever I'm doing chores, like doing the dishes, whatever. I actually cancelled my Spotify premium to get an Audible subscription because I just was not using Spotify anymore. I used to be a hardcore music listener, and now I just listen to audiobooks all the time. So I listen to Pride and Prejudice. I don't really like reading classics, so what I do is I listen to them instead, because like having someone reading it out to you kind of just makes more sense to me. So I listened to Pride and Prejudice and I absolutely loved it. It was the tea, the gossip, the drama. I loved it. It was great. I watched the movie before I read the book, and then after I listened to the book, I watched the TV show with Colin Firth in it. It was great. I had a great time. Yeah, it was just a good time. I don't usually like classics that much. I mean, I read Wuthering Heights earlier this year and I literally rated it like a 2 out of 5 because I just did not enjoy it. So yeah, I was really surprised that I liked this classic because I usually just wouldn't. It's not something I would usually go for. So that was Pride and Prejudice and I rated that 4 out of 5. The next book was another book that's really popular on kind of BookTube, and a lot of people, even people who only read kind of adult books, really like this book. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. Because I had read it 2 years ago, but I DNF'd it probably about 30% of the way through. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it another try. And this is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I did not like this book at all. It traumatized me, to be honest. I think it's because it gave me Spiderwick Chronicles vibes, right? And Spiderwick Chronicles, as a kid, I was just terrified of it. It gave me like the heebie-jeebies. I really was not a fan of the Spiderwick Chronicles. And then it turns out Holly Black wrote the Spiderwick Chronicles, so that's why they've got such a similar vibe. And so it's a no from me. I think I rated it on Goodreads, it's like 3 stars, but really it's like a 2.75 because I think I liked the plot and the characters are all right. The whole world just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I just didn't love it, so I won't be carrying on with the series. Don't ask me to give it a go because I just don't like the world because it scares me, or this like trickery and stuff, and just it's a no. But I get why people like it. A lot of my friends have given it a 5-star, but no, it scares me. So that was The Cruel Prince, and then I read The Kiss of Deception. Now I have a bookshelf over there, and I have quite a few copies of physical books, hardback, that I've never even touched, never read. So I thought, I'm going to try and read The Kiss of Deception. I still read it on my Kindle because, again, I don't really like carrying a book around. So, let me just do this. The Kiss of Deception. So I really enjoyed this actually. I didn't think I would because I'm not a massive fan of first person stories, but this was actually, it was quite interesting, and I'm currently reading the next book in the series, The Heart of Betrayal, which I also have in hardback. So I'm just basically trying to get through all the books that I own physically, as well as all the books that I want to read, you know, digitally as well. Yeah, I'm trying to get through them. And Kiss of Deception is about a princess who runs away from her wedding day and basically just goes to live a little cute country life. But then a prince and an assassin go after her. The prince is the one that she was supposed to marry, and the assassin is from a rival kingdom who's trying to like kill her off because it would benefit this other kingdom. She meets these two guys find her, but you don't know which one is which, and it's kind of revealed at the end like who the prince was and who the assassin was, and then the story kind of unfolds from there, and it's more political after that. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I don't think I would recommend it to anyone because I've got so many other books that were 5 stars that I would just recommend instead. Yeah, it was an enjoyable read. Yeah, I'm glad I've ticked off one of my physical TBR lists. Right, I'm gonna go get some water so I can water this. This pot was from Wilko. They're going into liquidation right now, so everything's really cheap from there, and I just thought this trough was really nice. So I'm just gonna get some water to water it in. Hello. Okay, so the next book I read was Legends and Lattes. Oh my god, this was such a cozy read. I really liked it. I read it during my lunch break at work. It was just cute. And it was worth it. So Legends and Lattes is about this orc who kind of has had enough of her current job, which is kind of like dodgy, like being an assassin and like doing like robbery and stuff like that, I guess. So she saves up all of her savings, all of her life savings, and she goes to this specific town that she chose to start a new life and open up a cafe. The problem is no one knows what coffee is because coffee's from this like foreign land. So she's trying to open up a cafe and sell coffee, but no one knows what it is, what it tastes like, and they're all like, okay, right, I guess I'll try it. And then a lot of people actually do enjoy it. So it's just a cute, cozy read. It's quite quick. I think it's only about 300-ish pages. Yeah, I read it within like 2 days. It was just nice. It was just every single chapter, like she would do improvements to her little cafe, and she'd add stuff to the menu. She'd get more friends and like more people come to a cafe, and suddenly it's like this really popular thing. So I did really enjoy it. I would recommend this just as a short, quick, cozy read. It's not really the right weather for it right now because I think it's definitely more of an autumn read, but right now here in the UK it's boiling hot. It's 29 degrees Celsius, which does not seem a lot to some people, but for us it's too much. It's too much. So then after I listened to Pride and Prejudice, I listened to Sense and Sensibility, again by Jane Austen, and I think this was just a miss for me. I kind of just didn't get what was going on. I was just like, okay, I just didn't know who the characters were. Everything kind of confused me. I gave it 3 stars because I did sort of like listening to it when I was driving and stuff. I just didn't get into it. I just didn't understand what was going on. It's a little bit disappointing to me. So I've decided not to repot my Monstera Albo because the soil's really soggy right now and I'm just not dealing with that. So I have, where did this come from? What? Where did this come from? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I have a Sport Monstera green on green that I found at Morrison's. You can see this leaf has a few little kind of slices of irrigation. This one's got a little bit up here. This one's got quite a bit. But there's a new leaf coming and these are the roots. So I'm just gonna pot her into some substrate. So last time I did this, the sport seedling did not do very well and I had to pawn her off on my neighbour just to rehab her because she was just not having fun, not doing well. So hopefully this time it's a little bit better. If not, I have to put her back into water because they do really like water. I mean, this one's still got the seed attached to it. So hopefully it does a little bit better. And its roots are really nice and white and plump, really good. So the last book I read in August was Nettle and Bone. Oh, I know where this has come from. It's my scooper. It's my scooper because I don't have a scooper now. I have to do this. So Nettle and Bone is a book by T. Kingfisher. I think she's like a children's author and she writes under this like pseudonym T. Kingfisher when she writes for her like adult audience. Not entirely sure, to be honest. This book was recommended to me after I watched a video by Carrie Can Read, who I absolutely adore on YouTube. This book was about this princess who goes out to try and save her princess sister who got married to this kind of evil king. So it's just about her like completing these impossible tasks and gathering people to kind of save her sister. And it's really nice because the main character is not like 18 or 20, like she's 30 years old. So it's really nice to just see a 30-year-old character every once in a while kind of doing things, especially something like saving her sister, because she's like, oh, I don't really go on adventures, but here I am. You know, my sister is in need of help. So I gave that 4 stars because while I did enjoy it, it did not give me the euphoric rush that Fourth Wing gave me. Fourth Wing and Harry Potter and the Lunar Chronicles, they are just my baseline for a 5-star read, like being excited to read every single day. That's a 5-star read. So I gave this 4 stars because I did enjoy it, but it did not give me that sense of, let me read. So that was my August wrap up. I read, oh, I forgot to talk about A Court of Silver Flames. But A Court of Silver Flames is the fourth book in the ACOTAR series, and it's about Feyre's sister, Nesta. So it's just about her kind of needing therapy, just about Nesta needing therapy and everyone else needing therapy. I kind of won't go into a lot. I did enjoy it more than I enjoyed ACOTAR. ACOTAR, I think, overall I rated it like a 3 out of 5. It was not my first Sarah J Maas series. I first read Throne of Glass, which I think was way better. So ACOTAR was just kind of like I think the way someone described it is it's a fantasy romance, not a fantasy with romance, which is what Throne of Glass is. This is just like the romance and the fantasy are like intertwined, and like the romance part is like a fundamental part of the story. So I did really like the Nesta book. I gave this a 4 stars because she's just more interesting than her sister. Yeah, she's really annoying just like her sister, but like it's just a little bit more interesting. I've not yet read the middle book, the little tiny blue one. I don't know what it's called. A Court of Frost and Starlight. I've not read that one yet, but apparently a friend who's already read it, apparently I don't need to read it because I already know what's happened because I've read A Court of Silver Flames. That is my August book reading wrap up. I have repotted 2 plants. I'm gonna just pose for a thumbnail. Oh no! Cheese! Thank you all. Goodbye. Hope you have a lovely day. Have a great September, given that it's already the 8th, and it will probably be a lot longer before I edit this and publish it out. But I hope you all have a great time. Happy autumn, and yeah, goodbye.